everybody, welcome back to progression. We were going to continue now with node progression. So the heartbeat of Ashes of Creation. Um, this is everything about this game. Without the node system, it's kind of a
You don't have a game.
you don't have a game practically. So yeah. So starting with node progression. So citizen and non-citizen player activity, questing, gathering, raiding, etc. with a zone and nodes zone of influence (ZOI) counts towards particular node's advancement progression. Nodes have 7 stages of advancement with experience thresholds for each stage. When a node reaches the experience required for its current stage, it advances to the next stage. So the first time is Wilderness, level 0. Then you have Expedition at level 1. Alternate names, it looks like Crossroads. Time frame, it says a few hours. So, and I think these definitely adjust per population. The world manager will be the one to determine, okay, there's 10 people, so we'll, like it'll adjust the experience, what people are doing within that area. Then you have Encampment, which is level 2, or Camp, many hours it says. Village, few days. Player housing, so small houses. A town says many days, medium houses. City, a few weeks. Large houses. And a metropolis is metro, many weeks, mansions. So there's a little video, so I'm going to pop that up real quick, and we will go ahead and watch this. It's only like 43 seconds, but it'll show you, like here's Wilderness, no audio, so stage 1 Expedition, and then we have Encampment, so like I said, and Village, stage 3, and then you have your town, which I'm pretty sure we probably won't see these for quite some time, but because I think even if you have a lot of people on the server, it'll adjust, right? So, and then you have your city. So things are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then of course your very end, you have your metropolis. And yes, each node will be different based upon the majority of the race that is actually their leveling. So if there's 70% Kalar, that means that that city or village will take on the appearance of Kalar. So humans and stuff like that. So, alright, so now we showed that. So let's move on. The advancement of a node unlocks its unique content, which comes at the cost of locking out an increasing ring of neighboring nodes from progressing to the next stage. Nodes advance to the first stage quickly. This enables NPC services such as vending or banking items. The most advanced the node is, the larger its ZOI becomes, zone of influence. Less advanced nodes, referred to as Vassal Nodes, that fall within a more advanced node ZOI will gain experience, but must remain at a lower advancement stage in the dominant node. So this is kind of where your conflict comes into it. So if one node people in that area wants a war node versus an economic node, then fun siege times. So yeah, so you'll see the drama going on there. It'll be fun with trade chat, forums, and all that fun stuff.
Mute.
Exactly. So the vassal system begins with a node hit stage 3 village, but neighboring nodes lower than stage 3 also block the growth of their immediate neighbors. Which we'll be showing that little picture. I'll blow it up for us so we can kind of, describe that a little bit better. The territory expansion algorithm takes into account the nearest coast, neighboring nodes, and the heat map of players in surrounding areas over the last weeks or month. Due to the way the progression algorithm calculates territory ZOI expansion during node advancement, there is a small possibility that 2 nodes at the same stage end up being close to each other. A node does not receive experience from the nodes within ZOI until these nodes have reached their cap. Players are moved to safety if they intersect with newly spawned assets during node advancement. So it sounds like if you go from a town to a city and you're standing where a building's supposed to be, then you'll be teleported outside the city. You'll be stuck on the wall like, friggin' like Han Solo, frozen and carbonite. They'd be like, well, we knew Missy. This is the ornament Missy. It's funny. So citizens of one node can contribute to the advancement of other nodes. The exact percentage of advancement from attaining items or killing monsters is not going to be explicitly known to avoid gaming the system. So it looks like you can't really you gotta fight here. It'll kind of all spill over into it. So I'll bring up this here. So if we look, 6 definitely is the dominant one here. So that means people probably started here for the most part, and just it got bigger and bigger, and then it overlapped into 5. So 6 is capped out. So then 5 was starting to get experience, and then 5 got capped out. So then their 4 started to gain experience. They got capped out, and then 3 is the little one. But let's say one day this number 3 here is like, screw you 6, and we want to be the big boy, and so they start fighting back against 4 and then 5, and then they start going after 6. That's what the sieges are, right? So sieges, if Missy's like, you know what, screw this place, and she works at it and gets a siege scroll and she enables it, people can sign up to attack, people can sign up to defend. And this also includes your freehold, so your player housing. So if your player housing is within this dominant stage 6 node here, it will be up for grabs during a siege. So that's when you, according from what we've heard from Steven and the team, so if Missy has a nice pretty garden, that she could probably have a bunch of barbarians, going in there and just destroying everything. Steven did clarify that even if you had a house inside, like the metropolis or whatnot, you wouldn't get all your resources back. Probably like items that you paid for or whatnot. Well, to be honest, technically, as stubborn as this game is, right, Missy? I feel like we're gonna run into aspects where, you might have bought a fancy desk for your house, but it's going to be destroyed, and those resources, that timber,
or stolen.
Yeah, a majority of it will go to the victor, because they are definitely doing the risk and reward. So if you risk not helping defend your siege, and the victor, the attacker wins, most of your stuff is gone. Now, if you had cosmetics to overwrite said thing, like the promenade that we talked about earlier, or next month, of course, you wouldn't lose that skin. You would lose.
They're paid for.
Yeah. You would lose the item that you use that skin over. So if there was a basic garden, but Missy's promenade made it look like a promenade, right? The garden would be destroyed and resources would be given, but that look you would still have. So you don't have to worry about, I lost
You would just have to rebuild your garden in order to get that skin back.
Exactly. So yeah. All right. So Vassal nodes. So village stage 3 or higher nodes enslave nearby nodes, converting them into vassal nodes. Vassal nodes, I could see a lot of just uprising. Be like, we will not be slaves anymore. And
there's going to be a lot of butthurt chat.
Oh yeah. Well, especially if you've had 2 and they were like, we're going here, and then this one pushes it up to the point where it upgrades, and then this one becomes a vassal. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's that part of this game that is amazing and fun to think about, you know, the comfortability, if that's even a word, that other MMOs provide, like Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft. You know, the consistency. I log in every day, even BDO. I log in every day, and you know, I know what I gotta do. I know my stuff's it's always gonna be there. My housing is fixed. I am good. But you go into this game, and let's say you were gone for a week. So unless, which I have a feeling that they will bring in like a vacation mode, right? And because even in BDO, there's technically in your guild, there's actually a vacation mode button that you go click, which I'll be using here in a little bit. Woo! Because I will be gone for 8 to 9 weeks, so it'll be Missy's ship to run. But I'll also be around, but not streaming like this, sadly. So, getting back, eating all the Jersey Mikes I can. Woo! Disney World, Universal Studios.
Okay, moving along.
So, anyways, as Missy said, moving along. And speaking of moving along, so vassal nodes must remain at least one node stage below their parent node. Neighboring nodes lower than stage 3 also block the growth of their immediate neighbors. This is intended to be tested in Alpha 1. Vassal nodes first apply any experience earned to their own deficit. See node entropy. It then applies excess experience earned to its parent node. If the parent node advances, the vassal is once again able to advance. Vassal nodes give excess experience to their parent node and may have their own vassals as long as they fall within the parent node's zone of influence. If a node is capped and it is both a vassal and has its own vassals, any experience earned from itself or its vassals is applied to its own deficit. Experience beyond that is then sent to its parent node. Vassals are subject to the government, alliances, wars, taxes, and trade of their parent node and are able to receive federal aid from them. It's like government.
That's awesome.
Right. Vassal nodes cannot declare war on their parent node or any of their vassals. So, that kind of sucks. So that means you would have to take your butt to a node that's not close to any of those, and you would have to build up that node, you know, or maybe you work the dealings of you talk to another big node and you're like, I want to take out the big node so we can start building up stuff. So a lot of backdoor dealings, I think, here, or has the potential of that.
Alliance forged.
Yeah. People will be going after the king and queen practically, which there are castles too, which will probably come up here in a little bit. So vassal nodes cannot declare war, so we talked about that on their parent node or any other vassals. Citizens of vassals are bound by the diplomatic states of the parent node. Alright. So that means when you join a node, you know, I think unless you leave that node officially, I don't think you're pretty much bound to it. So, node layout and style. Node layout and style is determined by several factors: environment and location of the node. Nodes will adjust the local topography to fit the aesthetic and mechanical requirements of the node. Local topography also has some influence on the node's construction. So if you probably build near a beach, your node's going to kind of look, you know, like a beach. Beachy. Hey, a little beachy.
It'll be beachy keen.
Exactly. Node type. Race that contributed most to the node's advancement, like I said earlier. You know, if there's a majority, 70% of that people in that area is a Kalar, then it's going to look Kalar-ish. So, which I think is cool. So, let's see, racial appearance of the node's buildings and NPCs. This applies to all nodes, including castle nodes. The rest is determined by the node's mayor. So, and the mayor has to be voted upon. So, yeah, get your platforms out there, guys, ladies. Okay, let's see. Racial.
And it's up for vote every 30 days.
Yep. Every 30 days, and then I also think of like economic node. I think with that one you actually have to pretty much whoever's the richest becomes the mayor.
Yeah.
War nodes, whoever's the best at PvP practically. So warlord practically. Yeah. And I think scientific was voted. But yeah, the rest were based on other factors. So racial influences. Cultural influences bring more than just the aesthetic and storyline changes. Benefits are granted to the dominant culture within the node's zone of influence. These benefits apply to citizens of the dominant culture, but they also apply to mechanics of the node and can also be a benefit to members of other races. There is an attrition mechanic that affects experience and influence to curb a single race from dominating the entire world. So that's pretty good. I guess I will read this one. That's just kind of explain it a little bit more. So there is attrition, and that attrition is on experience and influence is heightened based on the performance of the race in the world. So if all of these nodes are orc nodes, then their attrition rate is very high to complete with cultural establishment of new nodes because they have more influence in the world, and a popular opinion against them is they're outlining regions that they do not have influence in. So looks like they're going to try to balance that out, but I think you're still going to have like, I know the starting zones you can pick. You don't have to. There's not a default starting zone. So I think, hopefully it'll balance it. You know, you won't just have orc over here, this over here, this over here, and So it'll be interesting to see how the living world of Ashes of Creation comes to life. So zone and progression, dungeons, raids, world bosses, mobs, quests, events, resources, narratives, and other content within the zone's ZOI will have a diverse level range, but will scale with the advancement of that node and its racial influence. I'll finish off with, we don't have a strictly level 25 zone. Instead, that zone might have some level 10 creatures near the road, some level 20 creatures deep in the forest, and some level 30 creatures up in the mountain. These ratios will change based on the node that inform them, being generally more dangerous as the node grows. All the civilization attracts the attention of things that should not be. This does not mean that wilderness areas are safe by any means. Some will be safer, but all will have dangers that even the most experienced traveler needs to watch out for. So that means that technically if you start this game, which can be a double-edged sword we're talking about, if you start this game late, and not saying you're going to have to stay away from the bigger cities, like the more developed cities, or like it's going to be kind of a balancing of where you got to go. To me, is that bad? No, I don't think so. What do you think, Missy?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, why should you start at a level 1 and get to be in the main metropolis, right?
Yeah.
You can visit there, but not, have anything there. So you could start out somewhere like in a lower level, like a little village,
Definitely. Yeah.
It makes sense, It makes sense because, the people that are living and working in those big metropolises, they've put in a lot of time and effort, obviously, to get there, so.
Yeah, and I guess the awe factor is like, whoa, look at that city. Look at that metropolis. But you can't get there because you're too small. You pipsqueak.
You can't afford a house there.
You can't do it. But all right, and that was our node progression.